Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and I'm pretty amused today. So let me just put on my +5 out of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Because I made a video yesterday discussing that the longest lived cultures in the world don't follow any of these big popular current fad diets that are out there, keto, paleo, vegan diets. I've had vegans and keto dieters come in and explain to me, and I mean, I'll show you guys in the comments here, you can kind of see it. They've come in to explain to me that their specific diets are not fad diets, and they're both based upon science and medical literature, that they're the real deal. And it's funny because both these groups always claim this, that their exact opposite diet is the one true one, that it's based upon science and is healthy and everything else, right? But here's the interesting thing. What do these two diets have in common? They're polar opposite extremes, meaning they're diets that are literally the exact opposite. Ketogenic diets are, depending upon what version of it you run, usually 90 to 100% of your food comes from animal source foods, right? Unless you're adding a bunch of nuts or oils or whatever in. That's generally what you're eating. You're eating animal source calories. Usually in excess of 90%, and in some cases 99 to 100%, right? That's what people do on keto diets. Vegan diets are 100% animal source, or plant source, right? They're the exact polar opposite. Yet both claim as being two of the most extreme diets ever invented, and people need to understand that these are the most extreme diets ever invented. It's funny, they'll argue that they're not extreme. You know, vegans will be like, well, there's nothing more extreme than butchering and slaughtering and raping animals. You know, that's how they do it. That's extreme. No, you're eating a diet that is extreme in the sense of a major set of food groups that have been eaten since the dawn of time by humans, our pre-ancestors, everyone else, in every single culture and society on Earth through all of history and even prehistory, that they're a problem with. That's not what we should be eating. That is terrible. It's evil. You've removed a staple set of food groups that have been with us since the dawn of man, that we have always eaten and every single society on earth has eaten. You're removing them for philosophical reasons. All right, it's for philosophical reasons. They're like, what's an ideology too? And it's healthy. It's like, well, here's the thing. If it's so healthy, then why don't any of the longest lived cultures on earth follow a vegan diet? None of them. In fact, we've never had a successful culture anywhere on earth that was dominantly vegan, ever. A successful society in recorded history. It's an extreme diet. It's an extreme diet. Furthermore, it's based upon a guilt complex and an ideology, all right? Well, here's the thing. Vegans are so adamant about what they do, but you know what? And it's always funny when you say this, they're like, well, they weren't real vegans. They would have stuck to it. There have been tons of militant vegans who have left veganism, who felt exactly like these vegans do now, who walked away from it. Anyone know what that number is? Studies have shown that people who undertake the vegan lifestyle, that actually call themselves vegan and adhere to the vegan lifestyle, 88% of them walk away from it statistically. All right, 88%. That means just a hair over 7 out of 8 people who undertake this lifestyle and become what they describe as a full-blown vegan do not stick it out. They leave it. They can't stick it. It has one of the lowest adherence rates of any diet. And it's never been successfully done through history, and it removes major whole food groups. Now, vegans will say, well, you know, some of those cultures aren't full vegan, but they're almost vegan, the really long-lived ones. But I thought you guys say that it's a philosophy of it's 100%. It can't be mostly. There is no such thing as mostly vegan. You're either vegan or you are not. That's what the vegans always claim. You ate some gelatin. You take a vitamin with a gelatin coating on it. You're not a vegan. See how that works? But then these people who only eat meat once a month and eggs, you know, they eat eggs a couple times a week and meat once or twice a week are almost vegan. Like, whatever, guys. But here's the thing. There is no shown health benefits to completely excluding all animal products. Yes, there can be benefits to limiting certain animal products, limiting them, but there are no health benefits to excluding them. Furthermore, the vegan diet requires supplementation. And as much as they want to deny it, any diet that requires you to supplement requires it for you to be healthy. is not a balanced, healthy diet. I don't care how you spin that. And at the end of the day, vegans have to remember, there's no study showing that vegans live longer than the general population. Yeah, vegan diets can in some cases be a bit better than the standard American diet, but the standard American diet is considered to be one of the worst diets on earth. That is not impressive. It's not impressive to be a bit better than the standard American diet, but the fact of the matter is, vegans in any society where they live do not have a longer life expectancy or average longer lifespan than the host population, the parent population around them that follow whatever that culture's diets are. All right? They don't live any longer. It has no health benefits. And it's unsustainable, and people can't maintain it. 7 out of 8 vegans walk away from it because they can't do it. And they make all these excuses, well, it's because of traditions and temptation and everything else. So in other words, your shit's not sustainable. It's a fad diet with no evidence showing that it's healthier than a well-balanced diet that includes a larger variety of food groups. It's excluding entire food groups arbitrarily. All right. In fact, dairy, fat-free dairy and low-fat dairy is known by most sectors to be some of the healthiest foods on earth. In fact, I'm not even going to get into all that, but no one who's educated in nutritional science thinks dairy, for example, is automatically bad for you and not a health food. All right. It's absurdity. Veganism is not based on reality. It's based upon a kooky-ass ideology that isn't sustainable. It's basically a religion. It's a cult. There, I said it. Now, keto-tards, and that's not everyone who follows the ketogenic diet. Keto-tards are people like, well, ketogenic diets have metabolic advantage. It lowers insulin, and therefore you store less fat. Calories don't matter on the ketogenic diet. And it gives me better brain function. Like I can focus and concentrate better. I can concentrate more on not eating carbs. Keto-tards. All right, same thing. Fad diet. The only reason we know anything about such a diet existing, we know anything about it, is why? Because the Inuits were the closest society on earth that ever followed a ketogenic diet. It's close to it. It wasn't even full keto. One of the shortest lived cultures. They were mostly overweight, mostly obese, extra body fat, didn't live particularly long. There's your host culture. There's your parent culture for your ketogenic diet. It was found to be a very, very extreme diet that was utilized over 80 years ago, 90 years ago, to treat children with epilepsy, and still to this day it's medically prescribed for that. It works well for it. It has some medical uses. It was popularized for fat loss by a cardiologist who got an insane amount of resistance. In fact, if you guys go back and look in the 80s and 90s, debates and roundtables with him and world-renowned dietitians, nutritionists, medical doctors who are experts in the field of nutrition, obesity, cardiology, who all work with diets, they were all abhorred. He has no support from the medical community, no support from the dietitians community. He fought, and a lot of people said, okay, whatever, you know you're making millions and millions of dollars off your books. Let's not pretend it's about anything that you make in money. He was told that. And he said, well, I could get studies that show my diet's healthy if government would fund them. And he was basically told in round tables by other doctors, well, why don't you take some of those millions of dollars you made on book sales and fund your own studies then? Because you're not getting grants to study this crap. And they all called him basically promoting death. We have a diet that, and by the way, he was obese and fat at the time while following his own diet, and he died of a heart attack. So there's your founder of your ketogenic diet, Dr. Atkins, a fat medical doctor who made millions of dollars promoting a fad diet to the objection of the medical community, who himself was fat as hell, and he died of a damn heart attack while following his own diet. Died of a heart attack. Now, everyone wants to run around and promote it now, but the fact of the matter is it hasn't been shown to be any healthier than a standard diet, standard American diet for the most part, as long as calories are in check. It's an appetite suppression diet. Appetite suppression diet, but isn't an extreme diet. It takes almost all plant-based foods out of your diet, grains, fruits, everything. The stuff that we all know to be extremely healthy. It's a diet that removes probably 70% of the normal, common, healthy, naturally found foods that we grow. At least 70% of the health foods that we grow and consume and eat are excluded by this diet. It's an extreme diet. It is not generally accepted by the medical community, the dietitians community. When it is used medically, most of the experts who work with this diet say it should not be done outside of the care of a medical doctor, that you need to be having regular blood work done and be under the care of a physician if you undertake this diet. It needs to be medically prescribed, not something that you do on your own. That's what they say. That is the opinion of the medical community. All right? It's a fad diet. It's not based on science. The only science we have on it shows that for some people it gives good appetite suppression, but it's not healthier in any way, and in some cases it's far worse than balanced diets of the same caloric intake. You don't lose body fat any more quickly. In fact, you lose body weight slightly more slowly on a calorie per calorie basis. It's appetite suppressing when followed correctly by a lot of people. Therefore, it gets their diet under control. But in terms of your overall health, a person could probably get similar blood work, similar health markers if they ate the same amount of calories eating McDonald's and other crap. Okay? They would have similar blood markers eating McDonald's and other crap every day if they consume the same calories that they consumed on a ketogenic diet, the people who do it. That's it. The only benefits you get from this diet is that it helps with a lot of people's appetite. That's it. It has no other benefits. It's an inferior diet in every other way. It's a fad diet that the medical community considers to be dangerous to undertake on your own, and they don't generally recommend it. Both these groups want to scream that their diet, which is the polar opposite of each other, they're two of the most extreme diets ever created, are magically backed by the whole medical community and they're scientifically based, and that the other one is evil. You know, vegans eating animal products is what kills you. Keto dieters eating carbohydrates, which are plants, is what kills you. They're both morons. They're both following fad diets if they really believe that. And that's really and truly what both of them are. And these are not anywhere near the healthiest choices. And neither one of these diets are better or even equal to an overall balanced, healthy diet. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.